Hi, welcome to Chris Cook for YouTube. Today I'm going to be making chili. This was a special request that was given to me almost 2.5 years ago by one of my viewers, which is Pearly Peach. So I want to give her a shout out, Pearly Peach. She asked me about 2.5 years ago, maybe 2 years. She's been with me a long time. She said, would you make chili? And I'm just getting around to making her some chili. Someone had given her 8 cans of beans and she wanted to use them in chili, and I said just put them back in the back of your cabinet and I'll get back to you on the chili. Well, that was 2.5 years ago, so I hope that she still don't have that in the back of her cabinet. Matter of fact, she sent me a little note and she told me that she had given them away. So I want to make this chili today, so let's get started. Here are the ingredients that you're going to need. You're going to need ground beef, and normally when I do this, you know I cook for a lot of people, so you see that this is 5 pounds of ground beef. But normally when I do this, I do it with an 80-20 ground beef. They didn't have an 80-20 ground beef, so if you have the 80-20 ground beef, you don't have to strain the grease off of it. But since I don't have that, I'm going to strain this once I cook it. To that, my all-time staple, I'm going to add to that, and that is Lipton onion soup mix. Here are the ingredients. I have 1 cup of chopped onions, 1 cup of chopped celery, 1 cup of chopped bell pepper. I have salt. And the salt, I'm going to put the recipes at the bottom so you don't have to worry about it. But for the big pot that I'm going to be cooking, the salt is 1.5 tablespoons. The sugar is 2 tablespoons. You might say, why are you using sugar? I'm going to use it because I have to take the acid out of one of the other ingredients, and I'll show you that when I get to it. Here I have garlic powder. That's 1 teaspoonful. I have oregano. That's 1.5 teaspoons. I have cayenne red pepper, and because I have to do everything and make it kid friendly, I'm only using a small amount of that, so that's 1/2 teaspoonful. And here I have chili powder. Now, you don't have to use chili powder. You can eliminate all of this if you just go to the store and buy you some chili powder. But I don't like my chili done like that, so here is the chili powder. And in the chili powder, I did add some smoked paprika, so that's why you see those little darker spots. Here I have 2 cans of pinto beans. Now, if you are real cook, you can go ahead and cook your pinto beans, but I just went ahead and bought the cans of it. And this is just chili beans, so it's a little slightly different from the pinto bean, but it's in the same family. Then I have 1 can of ready mix. This is like chili tomato paste, and it's only really actually it's tomatoes, but you can just get you a can of stewed tomatoes and you can use that. Then I have a can of Contadina tomato puree, and that's gonna help bring in that tomato flavor. Now, instead of using water, I will use a small amount of water, but I won't use a lot. What will give your chili a very good flavor is Campbell's tomato juice. So I'm also going to be adding that to the chili. So I just wanted to show you the ingredients, and what we're going to do now, we're going to go to the stove and get started with preparing the ground beef.
Okay,
See
now
you
we're
at the stove.
and one of my daughters is already stirring the ground beef, and we'll get over there. But I just wanted to show you this because I know a lot of times when you watch me cook, you see me use this same little bottle, and I've been using it for a long time, but it's more convenient if I shake from these smaller bottles. But I do buy all of my seasonings in bulk. So everything I buy in bulk, and I just transfer it over. So if you see me using this over and over again, you may say, well, when is she going to ever run out of that garlic powder that's over in this container? It's only because I refill it. So let's look over at the stove and see what she's doing. This is one of my daughters. This is Henaya. Wave to the camera, Henaya. And she's doing my ground beef. She is the one that's chopping up this ground beef for me. Now, when it comes to chopping up ground beef, nobody can beat her. When it comes to making tacos, nobody can beat her. So I'm using her today in the kitchen. Now, there is a lot of grease in the bottom of this, and like I told you, I'm going to strain some of that grease out of there once she gets through cooking. And as you can see, the ground beef is partially
cooked. It's not all the way cooked, but this is the time to put in your onions because you want your onions to be translucent. You don't want them to be crunchy in your chili. So when we get through and we've drained that,
Okay,
we'll get
now
back.
my daughter has already,
She's gotten this ground beef. So if you can see, the ground beef is all crumbly like we need it to be for chili. So, and it's in, what I did was I added 2 cups of water into I put it in the pot, let it start to cook, and then I added the ground beef mixture that has the onions already in it. And I didn't pour out all of the grease from the ground beef. I left about 1/4 of a cup of grease in there. Now I am going to start to add my ingredients. This is my Lipton onion soup mix that's going into the pot. My garlic powder, my salt, my oregano, my cayenne pepper, and I know I told you I have to make mine kids friendly, so that's not a lot of cayenne pepper. I'm going to stir that. I'm going to add my onions, which is really cute. My tomatoes, which is really, it can be stewed tomatoes, but this is just chili ready tomatoes. But you can use stewed tomatoes, seasoned stewed tomatoes. That'll be fine. Now I'm going to add my celery. My green pepper. I'm going to stir it a little bit more. Has a good aroma too. Now, I'm going to add my chili powder. And if you don't want to just mix your own, go ahead and get you a packet from the store. Or you can mix your own if that's what you choose to do. And in my chili powder, remember I told you I have some smoked paprika. Good flavor. Now, I'm going to add my puree Contadina sauce. And this is where you're going to get your thickener from. So, it's just tomatoes pureed up. I'm going to stir that. Now, I'm going to add my tomato juice. And tomato juice is where you're going to get your flavor from too, instead of using water. Okay. And this is I think it's 64 ounce container. And I put in just a little bit past half. But like I told you, I'm going to put the recipe for a six person serving. I'm going to put that at the bottom. See how that chili looks? That chili looks good. Now, the one thing that I didn't add, well, 2 things. I didn't add the beans, and I didn't add the sugar. Now, the sugar takes that acidity out of the tomatoes. So now I'm adding the sugar. I'm going to stir that up a little bit. Now, on this other side, you see I have a pot. And I have just about 1/4 of a cup of water in there. That is because I don't eat beans. Not in my chili. So what I'm going to do, got it kind of popping a little bit. I'm going to pour mine out, and I have a grandson that don't eat beans as well, into this little pot. And I'm going to cook ours in a separate pot. Now to this, I'm going to add my chili beans. And I really don't like kidney beans, so that's why I didn't use them. They have like a hard taste to me. So this is my chili beans. I have 2 cans. And I'm going to add my 2 cans of pinto beans. Now, if you want to garnish this with sour cream or you want to garnish it with cheese, go right ahead. If that's what your preference is. Mine, you know, I don't really care for that. I'm not a big cheese eater as well. Now, I'm going to add the rest of the tomato juice. That's some good looking chili. Now I'm going to let this simmer for about an hour, and when it gets finishing simmering, I'm going to put a top on it. I'll get back to you and I'll show you the finished product. This is the chili with the beans over here, and over here is the chili for me and my grandson. So I'll get back and show you the finished product. Okay, we're back and the chili is ready. So I'm going to stir in it. Look at it. That is some good stuff. And Pearly Peach has been asking me to make this chili and make this chili. And I never have made it, and I set aside, I said today I'm going to do this video. And it is thick, as you can see. So I'm going to dish up a bowl. Man, this chili really looks good. And if you want to garnish it by putting some sour cream or some cheddar cheese down on it, you can. But the only thing that I think that it needs is just some crackers. There it is. Chris is making chili. That's my chili, and that's all you need to do it. Now, a lot of people have asked me about who does my filming. So, I want to introduce you to my other daughter. This is Melody, and she's the one that always films for me. So, thank you for watching Chris Cook for You Too. Bye.